A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar on Destination Canada, titled Canada for Adventure, broadcasted by Travel Trends Today, T3. I, Murari Mohanjha, editor, Travel Trends Today, am your host for today's session. Canada, as you are aware, is well known for its heritage, scenic beauty, people, and their culture. But the destination also has a tremendous adventurous side. Canada is the second largest country in terms of area in the world that cannot be completed in a single visit. We have organized a series of interactive webinars to provide you a unique platform to create a slew of itineraries for longer duration, multiple journeys, and thus increased business opportunities. During the year in 2020, we have conducted a series of webinars highlighting several themes of Canada, covering Canadian road trips, West Coast and Rockies, Atlantic and Central Canada, adventure, and many more. Today's webinar, the final one for this year, will help you create year-round adventure itineraries that merge effortlessly with leisure-based travel, thrilling, out-of-the-ordinary experiences that make a visit to Canada unique during spring, summer, fall, and winter. Today, let's explore the adventurous side of this charming destination called Canada. Before proceeding with our webinar, I would like to highlight a few important instructions and brief. Audience can feel free to click on any of the widgets available at the bottom of their screens to know the corresponding information that particular widget is carrying. You can also click on the abstract tab to download pertinent files which have been uploaded. Please feel free to ask any question during the course of the webinar pertaining to the topic by clicking on the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. Today, we have amongst us Mr. Karl Bas, Managing Director, Destination Canada, India, GSA, to educate us on the adventurous side of Canada. Mr. Bas, one of the dynamic and energetic thought leaders and a seasoned travel professional, has conceptualized and implemented many innovative ideas to promote destinations in India market. During his close to 30 years of experience in the industry, he has undertaken various marketing communications, international trade and finance workshops and programs through various global and national platforms. He is also actively involved as a guest lecturer on travel and tourism at various educational institutions in the country. Over to you, Mr. Bas.
Thank you, Murari, and a very warm welcome and good evening to all our travel partners and fraternity members that are currently tuned in. It is a pleasure once again to be closely associated with all of you and with Informa Markets. I would like to thank the entire team at Informa Markets for putting together a series of webinars that lasted right throughout the lockdown. One of our main objectives during 2020, after we all went into a lockdown, was to ensure that our travel fraternity members have adequate access to content, to information in real time as much as possible. We worked very closely with Informa Markets and the team led by Mr. Murari Jha and Pallavi Mehra in developing and conceptualizing all of the subject matters that some of you have been going through with us. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our team at Carson Advisory, led by Carol Paul, Conrad Gomes, Vishakha, and many others who helped put all the content together so that it would be more cohesive and enable you and empower you into promoting Canada for summer 2021. I'd also like to thank all the associations, TAI, TAFE, SCOL, ETA, OTOI, for supporting Destination Canada through various initiatives in 2019 that were physically done, and of course online in 2020. We have currently signed MOUs with all of the associations that I've outlined. And during 2021, we will continue the process of working with these associations, although we have to tone down our marketing communications on a larger level. So the associations or the relationships with the associations, TIE, TAFE, ETA, SCOL, OTOY, will continue throughout 2021 as per the MOUs that we have signed. You will see us reaching out to members pan-India through these associations. You will see content on their websites in 2021. However, it has been decided that for some markets, including India, we will be toning down the other promotional activities until such time the situation improves. I'm hopeful, and everyone at Destination Canada is hopeful, that once the vaccination processes take place throughout India and we see a resurgence in long-haul travel, Destination Canada will be back with an all-encouraging and all-enforcing marketing campaign. But until then, we will have to, unfortunately, tone down our communication exercise. However, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank IRCC team at the Canadian High Commission. We have this evening Dylan Silva from IRCC. Welcome, Dylan, and thank you for your support. I would also like to thank the entire team at IRCC that has been steadfast, strong with Destination Canada right throughout 2018-19, and of course through the pandemic in 2020. And we hope to continue the relationship with IRCC once we are back in the market and back to our old communication exercises. I would also like to thank Air Canada. Mr. Arun Pandya cannot be with us today. He's on a flight to Mumbai. So filling in for him is an old friend, Gaurav Mehta from Delhi. So thank you, Gaurav, for being here this evening. And we look forward to continuously work with you, with Air Canada throughout 2021. So the association with Air Canada will continue through 2021. I would also like to thank all our industry partners in Canada for being with us through all these webinars. This is the final one for 2020 and for the immediate future in 2021. Having said that, I would, we are always here to support you with information, even though we may not be active in 21 in terms of B2B communications beyond our associations with Air Canada or with the travel trade associations. We are here in the offices, and you can reach us through email or phone if you require any support. In closing, I'd just like to thank Mazda Travels, Akshay Apte, who's there with us today on the final leg of this series of webinars. And of course, all our trade partners who've also logged in, all of you out there online, and some of our travel fraternity members who've got questions for us this evening, they have also logged in. So a warm welcome to everyone, and I look forward to a continued relationship going forward into the new year. Wishing you all for season's greetings for the festive season. Over to you, Murari. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baz. Now we have Mr. Dylan De Silva from IRCC team, who will be sharing with us the latest update on the visa processing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over to you, Mr. De Silva.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Carl and Murari. So I'll start us off here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to Destination Canada for asking us to attend this session. My name is Dylan Silva, and I'm one of the employees here at the IRCC section of the Canadian High Commission in New Delhi. My primary work is on work permits right now at the High Commission, but I'm here to speak to you on all lines of business that we do, and hopefully I can help some of you with assisting others in planning trips to India. One of our teams does client engagement. Obviously, this has been a difficult time for clients. We wish we could predict what was happening in the next month or 2 months or year, but that is difficult. So I want to stress that the contents of this webinar are valid as of today. For the most current information on IRCC processes and travel restrictions to Canada, please visit www.canada.ca/immigration, which we will show later on in the slide as well. Link will be at the end. So let us begin. So on the screen now, we should have the agenda for today as follows: restrictions on travel, exemptions to these travel restrictions for each group of people who seek to come to Canada, processing changes as a result of the pandemic for us here in New Delhi and for our partners back in Ottawa, Canada, and conditions for boarding and mandatory quarantine, which would be very helpful for clients. At the end, we will be open to any questions that I can answer for you guys. On to the next slide, we have restrictions on travel to Canada. So to protect Canadians from the outbreak of COVID-19, the Government of Canada implemented travel restrictions that limit travel to Canada. Until further notice, most foreign nationals cannot travel to Canada, even if they have a valid visitor visa or ETA. These restrictions stop non-essential or non-discretionary travel to Canada, but there are a good amount of exceptions that I will be glad to show to you guys. For starters, on the exemptions to travel restrictions, on the next slide, we have the following people who can come for essential purposes. Essential is referring to those who are traveling for non-discretionary and non-optional reasons. Emergency orders made under the Quarantine Act do not permit people to travel to Canada for optional or discretionary purposes such as tourism, recreation, or entertainment. Note the visitors will need an authorization letter to travel to Canada if family in Canada is not Canadian or PR, which I will explain in more depth later, as this has consistently changed over the pandemic. We'll move to the next slide for workers. So for workers, the key factor is that the worker has either lived in Canada before the pandemic and needs to return and has a valid visa, or that they meet certain requirements. Evidence that they lived in Canada would be duration of their work permit and stamps in their passport showing that they had entered Canada in the past. The other key component is if the worker has a valid visa and has a job offer and is able to work after they quarantine in Canada. Before making any travel arrangements, if the foreign national has submitted a work permit application and has received a letter of introduction, the foreign national should confirm with their prospective employer that the work location organization is not subject to mandatory closure of non-essential businesses. If the business is closed, workers should not proceed to Canada at this time as there's no work to do. If the business is open, will be able to start their employment after the 14-day quarantine as required by the Government of Canada. For family members of workers here, foreign nationals who are accompanying family members of work permit holders where the spouse has a letter of introduction for an open work permit or meet another exemption from travel restrictions, the decision of the Border Services Officer will be context specific. In a situation where immediate family members are ordinarily residents of Canada, a Border Services Officer may allow entry as travel would not be optional. In a situation where the temporary worker is coming to do work that is critical for the Canadian economy, Border Services Officers may examine the motivations for their dependents' travel at this time, particularly because Canadian schools are not open to in-person teaching right now. We'll discuss more about temporary residents in the next slides and the requirement for a letter of authorization. We'll continue with workers here. Here are the workers that we're prioritizing for applications. This is mainly people who contribute to Canada's food and agriculture, people who contribute to Canada's supply chain and logistics, people part of Canada's healthcare industry, and people who are working in film and television. The film and television ones are not biometric exempt like the rest of this slide, but they will get express processing that is centralized in Canada if they indicate on the web form. The next slide, we have work for which no work permit is required. So for this type of work, we're looking at emergency services providers, healthcare students, marine crew joining vessels, and after-sales services that doesn't include installation. For these workers, they'll need to show to airline staff that they're exempt from the travel restrictions. And to do this, they'll have to show the following documents to airline personnel: passport or travel document, simple enough, and proof that they're exempt from travel restrictions. So you can see here for each one, it's generally a letter of invite or some letter on the part of the organization bringing them to Canada to show that they are exempt. On the next slide, we are now going to students. So as of October 20th, 2020, we have been allowing international students to travel to Canada. For international students to travel to Canada, first and foremost, their designated learning institution has to have an approved COVID-19 readiness plan in place. These COVID-19 readiness plans are approved or refused based on provincial governments, as provincial governments are in charge of education and health. And these plans are for the safety of both those working at the school and for the students attending this school. If a student's school is not on the approved COVID-19 readiness plan list, this student will not be processed, their visa will not be printed, and they will not be able to do biometrics. So unless your school is on this list, please do not rush to get your application done. This list is updated every 2 weeks and is posted on our website. The changes to these travel restrictions affect all international students, I should also specify, regardless of whether they're traveling from or when their study permit was approved. So if someone is halfway through their studies, but their school is not on the approved list, they will not be able to travel to Canada until their school is on the approved list. Immediate family members may be able to accompany an international student to Canada if their reason to travel is non-optional or non-discretionary. It is on the immediate family members to provide evidence or reasoning to the airport or border services officials to justify that, as you are not guaranteed entry. Now we have visitors, the immediate family member definition. So for those who are following types of family members: spouses or common law partners, children under the age of 22, guardians or tutors, spouse's dependent child, the spouse's parent or step-parent, or dependent child of a dependent child. These family members will be able to travel to Canada if their family in Canada is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and they will not need an authorization letter. This is considered essential travel by virtue of the fact that they are immediate family members visiting a Canadian citizen or permanent resident located in Canada. Of course, if you plan to stay in Canada for less than 15 days and thus not abide by the quarantine restrictions and seeking an exemption, you will need an authorization letter for that. As for immediate family members of temporary residents in Canada, those being workers or students, you will need to get an authorization letter from Public Health Agency of Canada, and we will have instructions on how to get the authorization letter on a later slide. But if your family in Canada is a student or worker, you will need this authorization letter, and you will need to show that the travel is essential. On the next slide, we have extended family members. As of October 8th, 2020, we have been permitting extended family members of Canadian citizens or permanent residents. These extended family members will once again need to stay in the country for 15 days or more. They'll need to provide IRCC with the required documentation, including a completed and signed statutory declaration to show they meet the definition of an extended family member of a Canadian citizen or Canadian permanent resident. They need to show they meet existing eligibility and admissibility requirements to enter the country that we judge every application on. They will need to be traveling to Canada with a valid passport and travel document, and they'll need to have received written authorization from IRCC to travel to Canada as an extended family member. Now, who is an extended family member? We have listed right over here. So this would be individuals in an exclusive dating relationship with a Canadian citizen or permanent resident for at least 1 year who have spent time in physical presence of the Canadian citizen or permanent resident during the relationship. And so these people are permitted, and their dependent children. Just as well, non-dependent children of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, that is children who are over the age of 22, grandchildren of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, siblings, which includes half and step siblings, and grandparents. These are all extended family members and can come to Canada if they meet the requirements to visit their Canadian citizen or permanent resident extended family member. If you're an extended family member of a student or a worker, these exceptions do not apply to you, and you are currently not able to travel to Canada. Next, we have kind of a summary of the 3 types of visitors that are currently permitted to come to Canada. First, immediate family member of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, no authorization letter, no need to provide extra documentation. You're able to visit Canada with relative ease right now. Next, immediate family members of a temporary resident, that being a student or worker, you will need an authorization form and the usual requirements. And lastly, extended family member of a permanent resident or Canadian citizen, this one being extended family. These people will need to sign a statutory declaration and get authorization from IRCC showing that the travel is essential. For getting this authorization letter, you can see at the bottom here, we have an email address on the previous slide, ircc.covid-travel exemptions- the French part at cic.gc.ca. If we could go back 1 slide, please. Perfect. So that's the email address you would have to contact to get your authorization. On to the next slide. Entry into Canada for compassionate reasons. So we understand that the above exceptions will not meet everyone's needs for getting to Canada, and there's situations where your purpose for coming to Canada is so important that we may need to make another exemption here. This can include being present during the final moments of life for a loved one, providing support to a person deemed critically ill, providing care to a person who medically requires support, and attending a funeral or end-of-life ceremony. This is a non-exhaustive list, and it is up to the person traveling to make their case to IRCC, not just IRCC. In this situation, you're filling out an online form that will be sent to the Public Health Agency of Canada to explain why your travel is essential right now and why it meets compassionate reasons. There are certain requirements that may be made by each province and territory that have additional processing requirements. This depends on the province you are traveling to. Of course, in this kind of situation, your quarantine plan can be adjusted because generally, if it's a funeral or a terminally ill loved one, 14-day quarantine might not suffice in the time between arriving and the time between seeing your family. On to the next slide. We have permanent residents. So to be clear, all permanent residents with a valid PR card may enter Canada. What we're talking about is permanent residents who do not have a card and will need a permanent resident travel document, a PRTD. These are now being done by not having to put the counterfoil, the printed part, into the person's passport and instead coordinating their travel with the Canadian Border Services Agency. All COPR holders, confirmation of permanent resident, that is COPR, with a valid visa are allowed to enter Canada. We have many with expired COPRs, and we're looking at ways to facilitate their entry as well. This will likely depend on whether or not they plan to establish themselves in Canada at this time. And on this slide, you can see if a permanent resident is not in possession of a valid permanent resident card, they will require a valid PRTD. So the PRTD is what you'd be applying for at the email listed there. And this would allow a virtual visa per se to be put in your passport. On to the next slide, we have COPR holders, the confirmation of permanent residence, that is. So if your COPR is not expired, you are exempt from the current travel restrictions and can come to Canada if you have a valid COPR and the COPR was issued on or before March 18th, 2020, or if the COPR was issued after March 18th, 2020, you are an immediate family member sponsored by a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, noting that grandparents are not considered immediate family members and cannot come to Canada at this time. So, so to speak, this is for someone who is going to be permanent resident in Canada, has a valid COPR, and if it was issued after March 18th, they would have to be immediate family members. Immediate family members was outlined on a previous slide, but can be expected to include children, parents, and spouses. If your COPR is expired, you should have a compelling reason to travel to Canada now to overcome the expired COPR. This would likely include family reunification, where a family member is in Canada and usually resides there. On to the next slide is transit passengers we'll address very quickly. So for passengers transiting through Canada, for which there's probably a fairly large amount since Delhi and Toronto have a fair amount of flights every week, for these passengers, they will need to complete their biometrics still, and they should apply for a transit visa specific to a particular flight. That's all really to say here. Of course, the complicated part of this is the biometrics, which I will outline later. On the next slide, we have what has changed as a result of COVID-19 in our processing. First and foremost, online applications are the only ones being accepted right now. We will work on paper applications as we can with our limited capacity here in Delhi, but online applications are the only ones being accepted at this point, and this is valid up until the end of January currently through ministerial instructions. Next, we have published processing times not being accurate. If you look online on our website and you try to find processing times, because of the pandemic and limited capacities, those are not accurate, and you should not expect your application to be done in the time listed there. Next, we have processing delays due to reduced staff at the mission, very much linked with the last one. Please understand that we are working hard around the clock to make sure your application is done as timely as possible, but with limited staff in Canada and in India and trying to abide by all the COVID, so physical distancing restrictions, it can be difficult to get the same amount of work we had done before the pandemic. And lastly, VAC operations is of course a big one, which I will explain on the next slide. So on this slide, everything you need to know about our VACs, though I believe it is a bit out of date here, and I need to update it. So our visa application centers across India, including the ones listed, if I can remember them all right now, they would be Delhi, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune, and Chandigarh, Jalandhar, and Amritsar. Don't quote me on that. You can check our website for the list of full visa application centers. All of these centers are open right now for appointments, but these appointments at this point are only open to students and for family class permanent resident applicants. So if you meet either of those two groups, you can go to our website, to the VAC website to make an appointment. For students, applications destined to DLIs on the approved provinces and territories list are the ones being accepted for VAC appointments. If your school is not on the approved list, you will not be able to make an appointment at the VAC for biometrics. And if your application is approved, you will be issued a visa so you can travel to Canada under the current travel restriction exemptions. So all this to say is that right now, we are only accepting these two groups, but we are always looking at a possible situation in the future where we can allow more people to submit their biometrics. Just as well, for those who are in these two groups, I should warn that there's a huge volume of people currently making appointments to submit their biometrics. Thousands, that is to say, in the India network of 11 visa application centers. So come in expecting that it might take a bit to get your biometrics put in, and we're working for solutions on this. We've added much more frequent appointment times. We've made sure we've made it that we can do as many as possible within COVID restrictions and making sure it's safe for both the applicant and for the staff of the visa application center. Related to this is passport submission, which is normally done at Visa Application Center. Right now in India, clients who receive a passport request letter from IRCC should contact the VAC at passportsubmission@vfshelpline.com, which you see there in the fourth bullet point, to confirm their two-way passport payment. In this situation, the VAC will take your passport, bring it to the High Commission, get the work done here, and bring it back to you through a courier. A fee of 532 rupees for two-way courier service must be paid for this. And now we are coming to the last few slides. Here you will see some resources that may be helpful to you. First is the ArriveCan app for entering Canada. That's how you will provide mandatory travel information required for entry into Canada regarding COVID. You can download this wherever you get your apps. Here's some information on the ArriveCan app and Canada's efforts to reduce the spread of COVID-19. And please use the QR code listed there to find out mandatory travel information. If you scan that, you should find the most up-to-date information we have on COVID restrictions for arriving in Canada. This will include, as you see on the next page, the mandatory quarantine for international travelers. So for your mandatory quarantine, you will want to provide contact information and monitor yourself for symptoms. If we can go to the next slide, please. All travelers must undergo a health check upon arrival in Canada. Travelers must have a plan to self-quarantine for 14 days. And this plan should, if requested, should be provided to the Canadian Border Services Agency upon arrival in Canada. If the Canadian Border Services Agency does not believe that you have sufficiently planned for your 14-day quarantine in Canada, you can be sent back or you can be refused entry. Next, you must confirm and provide evidence you have a suitable place to quarantine. This means providing an address and explaining how you intend to self-quarantine if other people live at the same location. You would also want it to include what would naturally be important for your self-isolation. This includes how you will get food and how you will ensure access to any medicines you regularly use. Do not travel to Canada unless you have a viable quarantine plan. Failure to comply has consequences listed here, which can include a fine up to 750,000 Canadian dollars, 6 months in prison, and you could be deemed inadmissible to Canada, removed, and banned from entering for 1 year. So when in doubt, the more paperwork you bring, the better. In the next slide is where you'll find some very important information. Here is all of our social media channels and our official website. This is where you will find announcements as they come out and the most up-to-date and current information. Over there is a QR code that you can scan to download a step-by-step guide on how to apply online. This slide is important if you are trying to keep an eye on how things are constantly changing in this pandemic environment. The next slide, who to contact at IRCC, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada. For case-specific questions, use the IRCC web form on the IRCC website listed in the last slide, or email us at delhiimmigration@international.gc.ca. If it's about a permanent resident travel document and getting a FOIA-less visa, as described earlier, you'll want to email the email listed there. And if it's applying for a travel exemption, which, as I said earlier, includes extended family members of citizens or permanent residents, immediate family members of workers and students, or those who are traveling for compassionate humanitarian reasons, email, very long email address you see at the bottom there, and those people will be able to assist you and approve you for an authorization letter if deemed necessary. So that is hopefully all the information you needed to travel to Canada or assist someone traveling to Canada. Thank you for your time. I can now answer any questions that you might have for me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dylan. The presentation was indeed quite informative. We all are now quite well versed with the Canadian visa front. Dylan, we have questions for you, and the questions is from Mr. Sanjeev Sharma, Associate Director, Trias Holidays. Mr. Sharma, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hi, Delian. Delian, I have a query from my client. This is a family of around 10 to 15 people who is going for a wedding in Calgary next year in May 2021. So my question is, the parents are retired, the son is working on a ship. So what document would we require for the visas, and by when we should start the process in current scenario?
Okay, thank you for the question, Sanjeev. So the situation would clearly be a temporary resident visas. They're not going to immigrate or study or work in Canada. I would suggest, as far as when to get started as soon as possible. Look at our website, use our application wizard to see what documents are required for temporary resident visa, and submit it as soon as possible, online, of course, as we're not accepting paper applications. And make sure you get it as soon as possible and update it if you feel necessary. As for the processing side or our side of things, unfortunately at this time, most temporary resident visas are not being done. Only those who meet the requirements outlined for family and for right now, I don't believe a wedding counts in essential travel exemptions, where we mentioned funerals or terminally ill family, but things could change, and so it's important that your clients keep an eye on announcements on our social media page, on our official website, and prepare themselves for when they can travel, if they can travel for their wedding. If their son, I'm not sure if it's clear here if he's on a work permit. If their son is on a work permit, they can always visit him and explain why it's essential, and they may be permitted for a wedding. But extended family members would not be able to go unless we lower our travel restrictions, which is possible, but at this point, I can't guarantee anything. I hope that helps. Any follow-up questions?
Yeah, that's okay. We have to wait till Jan, how things open up.
Exactly. The same rule for everything these days. Keep an eye and hope for the best, but we'll try to do our part as much as we can.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Next we have Mr. Gaurav Mehta, Sales Manager, India, Air Canada. Gaurav will share the latest initiative taken by Air Canada. Gaurav will share with us the latest initiative taken by Air Canada in the current scenario. Gaurav, please.
Right, Murari. Very good afternoon and warm welcome to each and everyone. And I would like to thank especially for Destination Canada, Mr. Kalwas and his wonderful team. And I think we have a very strong and very fabulous partnership with the Destination Canada, and a tremendous amount of webinar we done with the Tourism Canada. And here we actually Air Canada, since long we always priority give to the safety of the passengers, and our timing of the flights always on time, even departure, arrival. And big thanks to the team who actually give us this opportunity to be part of this webinar. And special thanks to Dylan for a wonderful presentation he given regarding the visas and the process, how it move on. So it's very informative, very knowledgeable. Thanks to Dylan. And here we will start. So for Air Canada, Air Canada is always open and welcoming to traveler to land up in Canada with safety. So may I request for to run a video for Air Canada? May I request to run the first video, Murari? Thank you. So first of all, thanks to Calvas and his wonderful team to take this, to give us the opportunity to be part of this wonderful webinar, which always very informative and very educated, and it helps us, the whole trade, to move on the right direction, right? So Air Canada is always welcome and open to all the travelers who want to land up in Canada. And our first priority is always safety for the passenger. So may I request to run the first video for Air Canada? Right. So I hope you all like the video. So Air Canada is always look after to the more enhanced permission from the government, both side India and Canada, so we can bring more passenger to Canada. So my next point about the safety of the passengers. So Air Canada is always preferred the safety of the passengers, and for this we have initiative the Clean and Clear. This is a process to sanitize the flight, the whole flight, and this will help to travel, and it will save you from any kind of the safety things which we always preferred. So may I request to play the Clean and Clear video? Thank you. So thank you, Murari. There's more insight and more information for the processing at the airport or the safety procedures. So may I request to play the slide so I can explain more information for Air Canada?
Gaurav, please go ahead. Slide is like,
I'm
Yeah.
not able to see the slide actually, which I need to explain.
it's on the screen.
Okay, this is the first one. So traveling with Air Canada, the risk of contracting to COVID-19 on a flight is very low. So this is what we explained in the video about Clean and Clear. So 1.2 billion passengers have traveled since the start of 2020 with 44 cases reported of the confirmed, probable or potential transmission associated with flight. So 1 in 27 million, it's almost the average. So this shows how we are serious about the safety for the passenger. Next slide. Even if 90% of the cases were unreported, the risk remain very low while you're traveling to Air Canada. It almost 1 in a 2.7 million traveler. And most of these 44 cases happened before mask wearing or biosafety measures were put in place. So safety is always our number one priority. It is global mandate to give the safety priority of the passengers. Next slide. So Air Canada 043 Delhi Toronto, 19 December to 5th January. It's a Boeing 777 and hence more capacity to take the passenger to Canada. It's a business class 40 seats, premium economy 24 seats, and economy it's 336. So against Boeing 787, the 777 has more capacity to bring 50 passengers each flight more. Next slide.
This is the last slide.
Okay. So thank you, Rory. Thank you so much for the opportunity to give Air Canada always be part of this destination of Canada. And thanks to all the audience who logged in and take the opportunity to get more information, more basic knowledge about travel to Canada, how to do it. So I think the webinar is always help us to get this information shared with our passengers, corporates, or students. So thanks to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav. It was indeed very lovely presentation.
Thank you.
Safety features will surely help in instilling confidence amongst the travelers. I am sure each one of us are waiting for the opportunity to travel to Canada on the Air Canada very soon. We have a question for you, Gaurav.
Please.
The question is from Mr. Asutosh Dwivedi, CEO and founder of Utazo Services Private Limited. Mr. Dwivedi, please. Mr. Dwivedi, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi,
Yeah.
Gaurav. Good to see you.
Same here.
Yeah. So our question is very simple. Since we'll be getting the schedules of the airlines on a monthly basis, and now since we're approaching the summer season, we're getting a lot of queries from the customers that can you give us some kind of visibility? When can the schedule be at least a little longer for 3 or 4 months? Because it's difficult for us to do planning for them if you're not sure if the flight is going to operate from next month or not. Is there any visibility or plan on how to go about that?
So thank you, Ashutosh, for your question. And we have approval till March 2021 to operate the flight, which we got last month only. So it's a good news that we have approval till March next year.
Right. Yeah.
And the schedule in the very much in system. So it's visible in the system, in the GDS, all kind of GDS.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Asutosh. We have more in our basket. So we are coming let's further check out what unique products Canada has in store for us. May I please invite Mr. Baz again to further explain about the exclusive offerings of the Canada on the adventure side. Mr. Baz, please.
Thank you, Murari, and my appreciation to Gaurav Mehta from Air Canada for having been with us on the first part of this evening's presentation. I'd also like to thank Ashutosh Dwivedi and Sanjeev for coming on earlier with their questions for IRCC and Air Canada. Now, my friends, coming to the subject matter that's there this evening, my colleague Carol Paul will be presenting a deck on Canada for Adventure. Now, all of you are familiar that Canada, being the second largest nation in terms of size on Earth, we also have an extremely large area that has forests, greenery, ice caps, and so on. And of course, the ever famous Rocky Mountains. This immense space kind of encourages a fair degree of sport, whether it's water, whether it is on snow, and of course, even on land. Everything from an all-terrain vehicle to jet skiing, snowboarding, snowshoe walking. You can even get scuba diving. You can even get various on-ground activations like rappelling, bungee jumping. You have options of trekking, wildlife, and of course, mixing all of this with the Aurora Borealis. Now, the Aurora Borealis may seem as a spectator sport and therefore not clubbed with adventure, but in my opinion, it is as good as an adventure because you tend to take in 3 nights in a remote area, giving you the opportunity to go skiing, snowboarding, also snowmobiling or skidoo as they call them. And all of that lends itself to an adventure, which when you merge it with the Aurora Borealis gives you an amazing experience. Having said that, Carol is going to take you through a different set of products this evening. And I will now hand it over to Carol to take you through the next segment. Thank you for being here, and I will be with you shortly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vaz, for giving a short brief on today's topic. Before I begin, I would like the first video to be played, please.
Somewhere outside of your ordinary, with people you've just met, in a place you thought you knew, it becomes more than you ever expected. You can just be you, and that's all you need to be. And no matter what, you always fit in, where the sights are as beautiful as the people, where the wildlife can get pretty wild. And even though you're not from around here, when you say goodbye, it's like saying bye to family. That's when you know it's more than traveling, more than a vacation. It's a journey, and it's just beginning, and it will continue long after you've returned home.
Good evening, everyone. And once again, a very warm welcome to each one of you in our today's webinar on Canada for Adventure. So today we would, like Mr. Vaz said, that there are various activities, adventure activities that you can experience in Canada. Now, we would be covering few cities, few provinces, and understanding which activities we can experience in which areas and what are the kind of activities you have an opportunity to explore when you visit different provinces of Canada. So with that, I would like to begin with my first slide, which is the geography of Canada. Now, Canada is the second largest country on Earth after Russia, and it is surrounded with 3 oceans. We have the Pacific Ocean to the west, the Atlantic to the east, and the Arctic to the north. Now, this is the map of Canada. Where my cursor is pointing is the Atlantic Canada. So Canada is divided into 5 regions. The Atlantic Canada consists of Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. What we would be covering today is Ontario and Quebec, which is a part of central Canada. There are 3 provinces, which is Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, part of Prairie region. And towards the west, we have British Columbia. And there are 3 territories towards the north, which is Yukon, Northwest, and Nunavut Territory. So let us begin with our first province, Ontario, which is known as the Paddler's Paradise. There are almost 400,000 lakes as well as waterways. It is the second largest province out of the 10 provinces that we just went through. And there are 8 international airports, 2 main international airports being the Toronto Pearson International Airport, which is the gateway to the east coast of Canada. And the second one is the Ottawa International Airport. Now, in this province, we would be covering 4 places. The first city that we would be covering is the Niagara Falls. So like the topic says, adventure, we would be focusing more on the adventure activities. But yes, there are some beautiful towns, beautiful places as well that you can explore in Niagara Falls. So the Niagara Whirlpool Jet Boat Ride is one of the adventure activity, along with the zip line to the falls. The image that you can see on the right-hand side, this takes you towards the base of the Canadian Horseshoe Falls, and then you land on the observation deck of the Horseshoe Falls. So these are the 2 adventure activities, and along with that, you have the Hornblower Cruise, which is very famous and a very well-known activity. It's a Canadian signature experience, along with the helicopter ride, wherein you get to see the top view of the Niagara Falls. You also have the Skyline Tower, where you go on the observation deck and see the beautiful view of the Niagara Falls. And it's highly recommended that you see the view of the Niagara Falls in the evening, as there are light shows that take place. There are various winter activities that are still ongoing during the winter season, like your Journey Behind the Falls, Niagara River Parkway, zip line, and you can also experience ice wine at the Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is a pretty town in the province of Ontario, which is known as which is very well known for its wineries. So you can experience red wine, white wine, and the ice wine as well. Let us see a short video on the summer activities that you can experience and how you can spend your summer in Niagara Falls. So please, the video, please.
Let's get on that helicopter.
So that was a short video by Rahul Jagtiani that was hosted by Destination Canada. I hope all of you liked the video and enjoyed it. The second city that we are going to cover is Toronto, which is the gateway. There are direct flights from Mumbai and Delhi to Toronto. And visiting the CN Tower, which is the highlight of Toronto, is one of the must-do activity. You can either walk on the glass floor at the CN Tower or simply dine at the restaurant at the CN Tower. But one of the adventure activity that you must experience, or it's highly recommended, is the Edge Walk at the CN Tower, which gives you an opportunity to trek around the circumference of the restaurant and also see the beautiful skyline of Toronto and become the part of the skyline. You can also visit the Albine Hills Conservation Area, which is an approximate of 50 minutes to 1 hour drive from this Toronto city. It has camping facilities available. You can experience fishing, mountain bike trails, swimming, and there are various other adventure activities. Likewise, in case if you want to experience fishing in Toronto, then Lake Ontario is one of the best places. You can proceed for fishing from Port Credit. You get an opportunity to hire or to rent a charter boat service, as well as you get an opportunity to catch some big salmon fish. Likewise, in case if you want to experience kayaking, canoeing, and subboard, Humber River is one of the best places. You can also opt for skydiving activity from Toronto. During the winters, you can experience skating at Nathan Phillips Square. The image that you can see on the right-hand side, you have the Toronto sign as well over there, which is one of the most photographed places. You can also opt for Toronto Heli Tours. It's available during the winters as well as during the summers. Now, Ottawa, which is the capital city of the country, is very well known for its museums. But the highlight of this particular city is the Canadian Tulip Festival, which takes place during the spring season. And apart from that, to experience adventure, you must opt for either canoeing or boat cruise at the Rideau Canal. And during the winters, the Rideau Canal gets converted into ice skating rink, which is one of the world's largest natural ice skating rink. And hence, if you are planning to visit Canada during the winter, you must not miss visiting Ottawa to experience ice skating. During the summers, you can experience whitewater kayaking or river rafting at the Ottawa River. Or there is a theme park, a water theme park, which is the Calypso Water Theme Park in Ottawa. During the winters, you can opt for skiing at Gatineau Park or simply opt for dog sledding at the Escapade Eskimo, which is a place approximately 40 minutes drive from the Ottawa city center. Blue Mountain Resort is loaded with lots of adventure activities, whether it's summer or winter. Hummer Tour is one of the highlights where it gives you an opportunity to experience the exhilarating excitement, as well as during the summers, you can opt for canoeing, kayaking, open air gondola, rock climbing. There are also some mountaintop Segway tours that you can experience at Blue Mountain Resort. During the winter, one of the exclusive activity that you can opt over here is the snowshoe and the wine tasting tour, as well as sleigh rides and the snowshoe tour. The second province that we are going to cover is Quebec, which is known as the French-speaking province. Now, majority of the population of Quebec stays towards the south. And here you can see where my cursor is pointing is Quebec and Montreal. There are three major international airports, which is your Pierre-Elliott, Trudeau in Montreal, John Lesage in Quebec, and Mont-Tremblant. The highlight of this province is the St. Lawrence River, and it is one of the largest provinces out of the 10 provinces. So let us explore Quebec City and what adventure activities you can do in Quebec City. Visiting the Montmorency Falls, which is even higher than Niagara Falls. You can opt for zip lining, cable car, or Via Ferrata at Montmorency Falls. You can visit Parc National de la Jacques-Cartier, where you can opt for go canyoning, canoeing, kayaking, or even biking. Likewise, in case if you just want to take a trip or just want to spot whales, whale watching from Quebec City is also available at the St. Lawrence River. During the winter, you must visit the Hotel de Glace. Now, when you visit Hotel de Glace, you must experience the ice bar at the Hotel de Glace, enjoy the sculptures, ice sculptures, or in case if time permits, you can even opt for a one-night stay at this beautiful ice hotel. Canyon St. Anne is again a great place for adventure activities, and you can also experience ice fishing from Quebec City. Montreal is very famous for Mount Royal Park and Notre Dame Basilica. Mount Royal Park is basically a mountain which is located within the city, and here it is very famous for winter as well as summer activities. So during the winters, you can opt for snowshoeing, tubing, and skating as well as during the summers, you can opt for barbecue or biking, or even simply visit or experience some amazing concerts that take place at at the Mount Royal Park. Now, when you visit Old Port of Montreal, you can opt for cruises. There are pedal boats that you can opt for. You can visit the Parc National d'Île-et-Boucherville, which is very famous for hiking, canoeing, and kayaking. During the winters, Voiles and Voiles is an amusement park where you can opt for snow scooters or winter archery. You can ice skate to music next to St. Lawrence River on the Old Port of Montreal, or simply experience the La Grande Roue, the image that you can see on the right-hand side, and see the beautiful view of the Old Port of Montreal. Now, this is an itinerary with a combination of both of the provinces. You have Ontario and Quebec. So you arrive in Toronto, you take a direct route to Niagara Falls, stay for one night. And from Niagara Falls, you come back to Toronto for your 2-night stay. After your 2-night stay in Toronto, once you've explored the city, experienced the adventure activities, and then drive to Ottawa, which is the capital city. If you have the time, you can also stop by at Thousand Island, which has some great boat cruise and helicopter rides. From Ottawa, you drive to Quebec City, which is a part of Quebec province, stay for 2 nights, and then end your journey with a 1-night stay in Montreal. So this is one of the itinerary with a combination of Ontario and Quebec. Now let us explore third province, which is Alberta, which is a part of Prairie region, but very well known for its Rockies. So the capital of Alberta is Edmonton, and there are 2 main international airports, Calgary International Airport and the Edmonton International Airport. Now let us first begin with the first city of Alberta, which is Calgary. One of the exclusive ways of exploring the Calgary city is by renting a bike, as it has the most extensive urban bikeway and pathway system in the entire North America. You can simply drive at the rivers along the Prince Island Park or the St. Patrick Island. Visiting Calgary Zoo is again a great experience. It's open all around the year. There are various other summer activities that you can experience, like visiting the Red Deer and experiencing the agri-tourism attractions, or the Innsfall Discovery Wildlife Park, where you can spot grizzly bear. Calgary Tower is the best place to see the skyline of Calgary, as well as the Rocky Mountains, or the Canadian Rockies, as you call them. As well as there is Calway Park, which is Canada's largest outdoor family amusement park, in case if there are kids traveling and they really want to visit the amusement park. During the winter, you can visit the Yamnuska Wolf Dog Sanctuary, wherein you also have an opportunity to get up close to the wolf dog. There are certain packages available, and there are certain restrictions as well that applies. You can opt for tobogganging, which is a classic outdoor winter activity that you can experience in Calgary, or simply visit the Windsport Tube Park. Now, as we drive from Calgary to Banff National Park, which is an approximate of 1.5 hours drive, it's right at the center from Calgary as well as Jasper. Experiencing the beauty of Banff National Park from Banff Gondola is one of the kind. You can ride up the Sulphur Mountain, which is an approximate of 8 minutes ride, and enjoy the beauty of Banff National Park. You can opt for a cruise, a 1-hour interpretive cruise, which is available at Lake Minnewanka, or simply visit the Mount Norquay and explore and experience Via Ferrata or rock climbing at Yamnuska Mountain. During the winters, you can opt for dog sledding or ice walking or ice climbing at Johnston Canyon, which it is very famous for, especially for ice walking and ice climbing. Vermilion Lake, the image that you can see on the right-hand side, here you can actually see northern lights, the aurora boreals during the winters. And in case if you want to opt for snowshoeing, Banff Sunshine Village is one of the best places. Now, when you're exploring Lake Louise, one of the iconic ways is opt for a horseback ride or canoe at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise, which is one of the exclusive ways of experiencing the beauty of Lake Louise. Now, you can also opt for hiking at Lake Agnes, which is again a great sight to watch, or simply visit the Lake Agnes Tea House for some short snack or coffee. Lake Louise Gondola ride is one of the best during the summers, especially because you can spot grizzly bears from the top. And it's best to visit Moraine Lake early in the morning before 9 a.m. or late in the evening after 7:30 p.m. as it is very beautiful during these times, as well as you have an option of parking available, because during the day it really tends to get too crowded. During the winter season, you can opt for ice skating on Lake Louise. I'll show you an image on the right on the next slide. You can visit the Lake Louise Ski Resort, which is one of the largest ski areas in North America. So this is the image of skating at Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. Let us see a short video on dog sledding and sleigh ride in Baffin Lake Louise. So those were two activities that you can experience in Baffin Lake Louise and the visuals that I could show you. Now, when you drive from Lake Louise to Jasper National Park via the Icefield Parkway, it's a scenic drive. You can experience the turquoise lake, glaciers, as well as spot wildlife. But one of the adventure activity that you can experience, or you must experience when you're exploring Jasper National Park, is the whitewater raft trip at the Athabasca Falls. This trip starts at the base of the Athabasca Falls, and it is tremendously amazing and a great experience that you can take back home. To discover Athabasca Glacier, you can always opt for a Columbia Icefield Tour, Jasper Sky Tramp, or Maligne Valley Wildlife and Waterfall Tour are great experiences. Now, Maligne Valley Wildlife and Waterfall Tours, you can combine it either by hiking or cruise, depends on the client's requirements or depends on what they would like to experience. During the winters, you can opt for sleigh ride on the Pyramid Lake, or opt for ice walking at the Maligne Canyon, or simply opt for the Winter Wildlife Discovery Tour, which is exclusively available at Jasper National Park. Edmonton, which is the capital city of Alberta, like I said previously, is one of the best ways to explore is visiting the Elk Island. So here you can spot the wildlife like bison, moose, deer, elk, and see more than 250 species of birds. If you are lucky, you might even spot or catch the northern lights from Elk Island. River Valley, the Edmonton River Valley Park is loaded with lots of adventure activities like canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, as well as you can explore this entire park. It's a huge park, and one of the best ways to explore is by opting for a Segway tour. Now, when you're visiting Elk Island National Park, you must experience the canoeing during the sunset timing, which is available. Or during the winters, you can opt for snowshoe tours at the Elk Island National Park. There are Commonwealth Walkway. You can visit the West Edmonton Mall, which is very famous for shopping. And the West Edmonton Mall World Water Park is very famous for surfing as well, the indoor surfing that you can experience. You can also experience Edmonton River Boat while you are exploring the city of Edmonton. You can skate at the Victoria Park or Rundle Park, which is few of the cities at the outdoors that have the outdoor skating rink, or simply visit the Edmonton Ice Castle, the image that you can see on the right-hand side. So these are few of the adventure activities that you can experience in Edmonton. Now, let us explore the last province for today's presentation, which is British Columbia, the west coast of Canada. It is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean towards the west. Now, the gateway to British Columbia is Vancouver. There are direct flights from Mumbai and Delhi to Vancouver, and the places that you would be covering is Vancouver, Victoria, Whistler, Kamloops, and Golden. So let us begin with our first city, Vancouver. The highlight of Vancouver is the Capilano Suspension Bridge. Now, you can also experience treetop adventure, cliff walk, as well as there are various other activities that you get to explore when you visit the Capilano Suspension Bridge. Harbor air flight seeing, which is a float plane or the seaplane, is again a great way to see the skyline of Vancouver and the Stanley Park. So there are approximately 20 minutes to 30 minutes of ride that you can opt for when you are planning to see the view of Vancouver from the top. Tofino, Vancouver Island, which is a fishing town on the west side of Vancouver Island, is a great trip that you can explore and experience, and is very well known for surfing. Now, when you plan to explore Grouse Mountain, you can opt for sky ride at Grouse Mountain. There are various other activities that you can experience. Likewise, you can visit Granville Island, which is the second most attraction after Niagara Falls. And you can actually spend the entire day at Granville Island. You can do kayaking, stand-up paddleboard, jet skis, and various other activities. You can also proceed for whale watching from Granville Island. Stanley Park is again the highlight of Vancouver, and you must not miss. Now, when you're driving from Vancouver to Whistler, approximately 45 minutes from Vancouver is Howe Sound, which is very famous for scuba diving. And during the winters, you can either opt for ice skating at Robson Square, snow camping, or winter zip lining, or simply visit the Flyover Canada. That is a beautiful experience that you can get from Vancouver. So let us see a short video on some of the summer activities that you can experience in Vancouver.
People in Vancouver love staying outdoors.
So those were a few of the highlights of Vancouver. Let us proceed with the second city, which is Victoria, the capital city of the province, British Columbia. Now, Victoria is very famous for Butchart Garden, but one of the famous activities and one of the most amazing activity that you can experience in Victoria is whale watching, which is a minimum of 3.5-hour tour. And apart from that, you can enjoy swimming, canoeing, and fishing at Elk Beaver Lake Regional Park, or visit the Gold Stream Provincial Park to watch salmon runs that you can experience in Victoria. Or you can either opt for a seaplane or float plane from Victoria as well to enjoy the beauty of Victoria. Now, your float plane or seaplane does connect you from Vancouver to Victoria directly in case if you do not want to spend your time traveling via road and ferry. There are various winter activities that you can experience. One of them, which I would like to highlight, is the ice skating rink at the Butchart Garden. It's an indoor rink that you can experience at the Butchart's Garden. Now, Whistler is very famous for its winter activities. It has a lot of winter activities like snowmobiling, cat skiing. You can explore the Lost Lake on snowshoe or visit the Whistler Blackcomb Mountain. But it also has lots of summer activities like peak-to-peak gondola is the highlight, wherein you can see the 360-degree view of the Whistler Village, glaciers, forest, as well as you also have the access to Cloudtracker Sky Bridge and the Raven's Eye. During the summers, you can offer zip lining, ATV tours, Whistler bear watching viewing tours in a 4x4 vehicle, or simply visiting the Velia Lumina. Let us see a short video on the summer activities in Whistler.
That was one hell of an experience. So after Whistler, when you drive to Kamloops, Sun Peaks Resort in Kamloops, which is very close to Kamloops, is very famous for winter activities. It's the second largest ski area, and you can experience fat biking here. You can experience snowshoeing here and hit the surrounding trails. There are great golf courses that you can experience during the summers in Kamloops. One of the exclusive experiences that you can have over here is the canoeing, which is a combination of history, culture, as well as adventure on the South Thompson River. Kamloops is very famous for art murals and historic buildings, but you also have an opportunity to visit the BC Wildlife Park or opt for a guided fishing trip from Kamloops. Now, during the winter, you can opt for ice fishing tours, which starts at the Tunqua Lake, or opt for outdoor skating rinks or cross-country skiing at the Stake Lake. Golden is surrounded with 5 national parks. You have the Yoho, Glacier, Banff, Kootenay, and Mount Revelstoke National Park. All of these places have great adventure activities to experience. Now, in case if you visit Yoho National Park, which is known as the hiker's paradise, great place for hiking, you can experience and explore the turquoise waters of Emerald Lake, as well as witness railway history of the spiral tunnels at the Yoho National Park. Likewise, Mount Revelstoke is again filled with lots of adventure activities. During the summer, you can opt for you can rent a canoe or opt for stand-up paddleboard during the summer season in Golden, or experience skydiving or opt for snowmobiling at Silent Pass, Gorman Lake, or Quartz Creek during the summer season. During the winter season, you can also opt for skating at Reflection Lake or ice climbing in Yoho National Park, or even heli skiing. So these are some of the exclusive activities that you can explore and experience in Golden. Now, this is a combination of 2 of the provinces, the British Columbia and the Alberta province. So you arrive in Vancouver, stay for 1 night, and then travel to Whistler. Now, like I said, somewhere over here is House Sound, where you can experience scuba diving. You can experience that and then travel to Whistler. While traveling from Whistler to Jasper, in case if you have the time, you can stop by at Wellsgrave Provincial Park. It is very famous for waterfalls. There are more than 40 waterfalls that you can experience at Wellsgrave Provincial Park. The best time to visit this park is during the spring season, as it's not very crowded. Now, once you arrive in Jasper National Park, stay for 2 nights and then drive via Icefield Parkway to Lake Louise for a day visit, and then onwards to Banff National Park for a 2-night stay. Now, from Banff National Park, while you're driving to Golden, you can stop by at Yoho National Park, arrive in Golden, stay for 2 nights, and do a day visit to Glacier National Park in case if you wish to, or in case if your clients would prefer to. And then after that, you drive to Kamloops, stay for 2 nights in Kamloops, and end your journey with a 2-night stay in Vancouver. So these are two itineraries, a few of the itineraries that we would like to highlight. And I hope this session was informative and it gave you a lot of ideas on what adventure activities that you can explore in the various provinces that we just spoke about. Thank you so much. And over to you, Mr. Murari Jha.
Thank you so much, Carol. And as usual, it's an excellent insight from Mr. Bas. Also, Carol, we have 3 sets of questions. And the first set of questions is from Ms. Grace Solomon, Associate Vice President of Mercury Travels, Ibix Travel and Holidays. Ms. Solomon, please. Ms. Grace Solomon, you there? Okay, Carol. I am asking you the first question on her behalf. The first question is, like, during this journey, do you assist with 24 hours? And what are the itineraries with outdoor activities in Vancouver?
Thank you, Mr. Murari Jha. What we would recommend usually for a 24 hours outdoor activity. So there are various outdoor adventure activities that you can experience, but few of the suggestions that I would like to give is you can begin your journey from, you can begin your day from Stanley approximately 405 or 450 feet high than Capilano River. It's a great experience to walk on the Capilano Suspension Bridge. And then there are treetop adventures and various other activities. From Capilano Suspension Bridge, you can then proceed onwards to Grouse Mountain. You can opt for Sky Ride at Grouse Mountain, and then end your day by driving back to the downtown of Vancouver, to Gastown, which is a great place for dining and shopping. And in case, if you want to skip on any of these places, then Granville Island is again one of the great places for various adventure activities.
Thank you, Carol. The next question from Grace is, what is Valia Lumina? And could you provide some more detailed information on this?
Yes.
Yes,
So,
thank
Yeah,
Hi, Ms.
Grace
Grace.
is there.
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry.
So Valia Lumina is a new attraction in Whistler.
Right.
It's basically a light show that takes place within the forest. It's a great experience that your clients can have. Now, it is an approximate of 10 minutes drive from Whistler Village. The show that takes place, so these shows usually take place for 20 minutes and 30 minutes. That totally depends on the season. So during the summer season, the show goes on for 30 minutes, and during the winter season, it goes on only for 20 minutes. But depends on the depends on the month that your client is traveling. So every month, the timing keeps on changing. For example, from June to October, there are different timings. And from November to April, there are different timings. And even the variations are from, the timing does vary between June to July to August as well. So you need to be very careful when you ask them to visit Valia Lumina, to to check on the timings and to check as to whether it's available on that particular day or not.
Okay. Thank you.
Third question from Grace, your side.
Yeah, just one. Just a second. My thing is really okay. Thanks for this answering those two questions. My next question is, how far is the Canyon St. Anne from the Quebec City Center, and what activities can we experience?
St. Canyon is approximately 30 minutes drive from the Quebec City Center, and one of the best adventure activities that you or your clients can experience there is zip lining on a two-seater. This activity is only available in Canyon St. Anne in the entire Canada. It's a great experience. And apart from that, there is again Via Ferrata that you can experience at Canyon St. Anne.
Great. Thanks, Carol. That's been very helpful. Thanks, Carl.
We have another set of questions from Ms. Ansu Tezuza, Managing Director, Ashoka Dream Holidays. Ansu, please.
Yeah.
Please
Hi,
go ahead.
Carol. Yeah.
Hi, Anshu.
Hi. Thank you for the lovely presentation. Very informative. I just had a question, like what is the duration of the zip line, to the falls, and what is like the age limit? Like, is there any age limitation, and how long does it take?
Okay, so the zip lining usually is for 30 minutes to 1 hour.
Okay.
And there are age restrictions as well as weight restrictions. So your age restriction, any person who is above 7 years of age can opt for this activity, but your weight should be 125 kgs and below. So these are the weight and age restrictions.
Okay. And any maximum age limit?
There is no, that totally depends basically on the tour operators. So you need to check what tour operator you're opting for.
Okay. Cool. And I had one more question. Like, what is the best places to go fishing in Edmonton?
Okay, so there are lots of places that you can go for fishing. You have the Pigeon Lake, you have the Long Lake, then there is North Saskatchewan River and Muir Lake. These are the places. It's an approximate of 45 minutes to 1 hour drive from the Edmonton downtown. So you can opt for any of these places to experience some amazing fishing activities.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll just add, Anshu, over here that if you're planning any fishing packages for your clients, then I would suggest that you check first with regulations, because certain provinces require a license. So, for example, for me to go fishing on Lake Ontario, I had to go to Ontario and secure an outdoors card. They call it an outdoors card, and you can get it validated for a short period or a long. I took a 3-year period card, and that allows me to fish and take back the fish within a specific number during the particular season. So it's important that you check with locally on the various provinces' websites for these sort of regulations. So if you're going in for fishing in Edmonton or in Alberta, then it's better that you check on the Alberta provincial tourism website for issues relating to regulations and licensing when it comes to outdoors, whether it's for camping or for hunting or for.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. That was informative.
Thank you, Ansu. We have questions from Mr. Ashutosh Dwivedi, CEO and founder of Utazo Services Private Limited. Ashutosh, please. Ashutosh, can you? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I wanted to understand, Carol, where when we can do some snow tubing in Banff? And a couple of follow-on questions. Where can we do some sky tandem diving and see glaciers?
Hi, Ashutosh. I'll answer. So first, I'll begin with the first question about the snow tubing. So in Banff National Park, in case if you're close to Lake Louise, then Lake Louise Ski Resort is one of the best places. And if you're very close to Banff town, then Mount Norquay is one of the best places for snow tubing.
Perfect.
The second question was?
Where can we do some sky tandem diving? And also where can we see some glaciers?
Okay, so the glaciers, one of the best ways to explore glaciers is you opt for a Columbia Icefield tour where you get to discover the Athabasca Glacier. When you drive from Lake Louise to Jasper National Park, the entire route is scenic. You can spot wildlife, you can see glaciers along the way, as well as there are some beautiful lakes that you can spot. And the other place that you can see is the Victoria Glacier, which is very close to Lake Louise, or the plain of Six Glaciers, which is again very close to Lake Louise.
Okay.
Ashutosh, I'll just add, since you spoke about snow,
Right,
I'll
sir.
just add that if you're planning on selling winter packages for 2021,
Right.
with the element of a winter wonderland experience, it's, you can do ice fishing, you can even go snowmobiling,
Right.
or also popularly known as a skidoo.
Right.
And my suggestion is if you're doing it around the Rockies,
Right.
what you can do is our guests can arrive in Calgary, and then you can take them into Canmore in case they want to have an experience beyond Banff.
Right.
Banff, of course, is very beautiful, but so is Canmore. And
Right.
you can even find adequate accommodation in Canmore. And you can do dog sledding in Canmore. So there is a Snowy Owl dog sledding company in Canmore. Going further, you can even pass Lake Louise. You can get into Golden, which is really the border of Alberta and British Columbia.
Right.
And in Golden, you can do a lot of snowmobiling. So it's also a great place. And for your Indian guests, there's also Indian restaurants in Golden,
Right.
besides Banff and in the other areas.
Right.
But there is an Indian restaurant even in Golden. You might find even the accommodation much more reasonable in Golden, but you need to plan the itinerary. I would
Right.
also recommend that if you've got small FIT group beyond,
Right.
small group in a van, obviously.
Right.
Coach tours would be out of discussion for the current time frame. But if you were to look at an option, then do self-drive, where you can have the vehicle picked up at Calgary International Airport.
Right.
And there are several service providers at Calgary. But I would urge that you pre-plan that, because sometimes when you book online, the price is a little high, varies from the price that you get when you go across the counter. So you need to plan that in a more appropriate manner.
Got it, sir.
And then you can even, there are some options where you can drop off the car back at Calgary, or you drive on and continue the experience for your clientele from Golden, and you come into Kelowna. Or you can also do alternatively Kamloops, although I would advise Kelowna. And then
Right.
from Kelowna, come down into Whistler, and then from Whistler into Vancouver, and then leave the car at Vancouver International Airport. So that's also an option, and that's an option that personally I've driven and done. So I know the route, and it's quite a experience, and can last anywhere between 7 days to 10 days, which would be a right size file for a movement in winter 2021.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Mr. Bals. Next, we have
Thank you.
a speaker amongst us, Mr. Akshay Apte, Sales Manager, Mazda Travel Canada. Mazda Travel was established in 1998 in Vancouver, Canada, and is the exclusive general sales agent for Rocky Mountaineer Rail Tours in India and the Middle East. They offer highly unique and personalized Canadian products. May I please welcome Mr. Akshay Apte. Akshay, please.
Well, thank you, Murari ji. Hope I'm audible today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are audible. Clear.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely presentation, Carol. I think Canada is very well known for its adventure, and showing it in the right way. I think more and more people would definitely love to go to Canada and do a lot of adventure activities in Canada as well. Thank you, Carl, for hosting these webinars, and it was lovely hosting everyone and to focus Canada on an Indian platform, because there is a lot of things to offer, a lot of unexplored destinations and places in Canada, which your team has very well, trying to convince all our travel trade partners. So definitely this is going to be a very big impact, and the sale is definitely going to go up in 21 and 22. So moving forward, like what Mazda Travel does is, like, we are a general sales agent for Rocky Mountaineer, and we have an office in Vancouver, and we also have an office in India, and we take care of sales and operations. Most of our team is based in Mumbai, so we are on the same time zone, so we can also help and curate all the activities, all the suggestions what you're looking at. Moving forward, like, our company was established in 1998, and we have been catering to this region since 22 years now, and we know what is our travel agent or the passenger looking when he travels to Canada. Okay. So moving forward, what we have done unique thing is, like, we come out with the signature Canada brochure every season, which focus almost more than 38 ready to sell packages for Canada, with the combination of independent vacations, self-drive holidays, private journeys, group tours. So this brochure is like an encyclopedia for Canada, wherein you will get an insight information, weather information, driving distances, and it becomes easy for you to actually pick and choose an itinerary as per the requirement of our passengers. So that becomes much easier to sell this product. And what we have done, so this activities, like, it would go more in liaising with the presentation done by Carol. So we would definitely like our passenger to go and experience offbeat activities in Canada. So 20 pages of our brochure are dedicated to these offbeat activities, which are not so explored, which are not so taken by our passengers out in India. So this is definitely a very good room to, on sale, or maybe upscale the level of travel or vacation when our passengers travel to Canada. We have a lot of packages on the rail touring. So when it comes to rail touring, we have Via Rail, which is an intercity rail network in Canada. So we have packages for East Coast and West Coast of Canada. And we also have the luxury train product, that is the Rocky Mountaineer train. So Rocky Mountaineer train also have more than 65 ready to sell packages of their product. Self-drive, which is going to be the upcoming trend, especially after post-COVID, wherein people would definitely love to travel within their close family or within their close proximity to make less contact with the other people. So car rental, self-drive holidays is going to pick up, and it is very safe and very easy to drive in Canada. Your Indian driving license with a chip is also valid. So this is definitely the most economical way to commute within the regions of Canada. Then we have private journeys. Again, a lot of small families, they get out together, and someone who doesn't want to drive on their own, we can offer a chauffeur-driven vehicle with a guide so that they can enjoy their vacation in Canada. We have group tours. So we do customized group tours depending on the size and the requirement. Of course, 21 would be a little different scenario when it comes to group, because there would be a lot of restriction in terms of maximum capacity of passengers that can travel together in a coach. So there would be few restrictions in place that we would be letting you all know on case-to-case basis as per the query. Offbeat packages. We have a very good package called Sunshine Coach that is on the west coast of Canada, which covers the Vancouver Island. We have Lakes, Bays, and Ontario. which is like the Eastern Offbeat package, which covers Muskoka, Blue Mountain, Toronto, Ottawa. Then we have Atlantic Treasures, another offbeat package of the northeastern part of Canada. Then we also have a lot of packages for polar bear viewing, that is Tundra Buggy Lodge package, which happens in Manitoba. And we also have few packages for Northern Lights for Yukon region. Winter in Canada, yes, it is definitely picking up in our market as well. People who have been spending their winters in Germany or Switzerland, now they're opting to do something extra, and we can definitely upsell Canada on their wish list. Rocky Mountaineer also comes out with their signature brochure every year, wherein they sell more than 65 ready-to-sell packages with rail journeys, with the FIT product, and they also have a combination of cruise as well. What are the strengths of our company? Like, we have direct contracts with hotels and coach companies. We have exclusive pricing. We have a team who has been dedicated. They have been to Canada, so they will actually curate the itineraries as your passengers are looking for. We have variety of race structures. We have inventory, dynamic pricing, and most importantly is the turnaround time. We partner with John View, Mountain Park Lodges, Banff Lodging, and Rocky Mountaineer, and we are also, liaising with the Aurora Expedition, which is like an expedition cruise, and few of their routes also cover Canada. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram for all the latest updates on Canada and what we have been selling. And you can also, look for the latest travel trend that is happening in Canada. Our office in Canada is based in Langley, Vancouver, wherein our director Merno Shastri, unfortunately, he is not in India right now. So I'm doing it on his behalf. So Mernoj and his team, they are based in Vancouver. Then we have a dedicated Indian team, which is based in Mumbai, which is taken care by Samir, Atul. We have Darshan, Kasturi, Mandar, Satish, and Gauri. To just wrap up, we are here with a short video on what we've been doing. Well, thank you so much for all your time to join us for this webinar. Thank you, Carl, again, and thank you, Murari ji, for introducing Mazda Travel. So it was lovely meeting you all again.
Thank you, Akshay, for the comprehensive presentation. I am quite sure our audience must be confident enough in knowing the much more about Canada as a tourist destination today. Akshay, we have questions for you from Ms. Ansu Tezuza, Managing Director, Asoka Dream Holidays. Ansu, please.
Yeah. Hi, Akshay. Thank
Hi.
you for the detailed presentation. So, just wanted to ask you, what's the maximum duration of the Rocky Mountaineer package?
Yeah, so basically Rocky Mountaineer train would ideally start, the package would start from 2 days and it can go up to 17 nights. So
Okay.
basically they have a combination of rail tour with the FIT combination land package, and you can also add in Alaska cruise to it. So you can actually under one umbrella, you are being doing all of the stuff together. So
Okay.
basically what happens is for Alaska cruise, you usually tend to spend in US dollar, wherein under one umbrella, you are paying in the same amount, that is Canadian dollars.
Okay, but then which, like it can be any cruise liner, right?
They usually have a tie-up with the Holland America.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And also, is it feasible to drive down from Rockies to like Vancouver, or should you take a train?
Definitely. Because the interior parts of Canada is very beautiful, which is not so explored. Like there are n number of lakes, there are n number of viewpoints that we usually miss if you are going by overnight via rail or maybe by flight. So we would definitely recommend one to take a self drive or a private chauffeur driven car, because you have a
Okay.
lot of activities which Carol covered in her presentation
Yeah.
in between. So it is really beautiful, and self-drive again, it becomes more economical than the
Right.
train.
Hmm.
So that is the
Okay.
advantage.
Okay. Sounds good. I have all your packages and all, but yeah, we'll be in touch.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akshay.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kusu. May I now request Mr. Kalwas to come again and extend his greetings and extend his gratitude to all our speakers, guests, audience, as well as share his views on the series of webinars. Mr. Baz, please.
Thank you, Murari, and good evening to all our stakeholders and friends out there again. I just want to take the opportunity to thank Anshu Tejuja, Ashutosh Dwivedi, Grace Solomon for all the questions and for hanging in there. I know it's not easy to wait online till you're called. So thank you so much for being there throughout the sessions. Thank you to Akshay Apte as well from Mazda Travels. Being the last speaker of the day, it always takes a lot of patience. So thank you, Akshay, for being there. I also want to take the opportunity to once again thank Carol, Conrad, Vishaka, and the team for all the presentations that they've put together right throughout the series of webinars throughout the lockdown. And of course, this would not have happened had it not been for the excellent support and cooperation we received from Informa Markets T3 editor Murari Jha, Pallavi Mehra, director of Informa Markets Vertical for I must thank the entire back-end team. There are so many of them that have painstakingly put all the creatives together, and of course the entire platform. I'd just like to close by making a few announcements so that it's clear. Destination Canada is very much there in 2021, although we will be very low key in our marketing and promotions. So from that perspective, it'll really be limited to engagements with the travel trade associations that we have signed MOUs with TAI, TAFE, SCOL, ETA, OTOY. We will also keep in touch with all of you directly on email and phone if you need any support. I'm hopeful that everyone gets the vaccination done at the earliest so that Destination Canada can re-enter the market in a strong manner and we can achieve all the objectives that we had set out for 2020, which we had to put all of it into cold storage. Many of you would have recalled that we were looking at a very robust summer 2020. We were in fact focusing on fall 2020 and winter 2020, and these were shifted. The goalpost shifted to 21, and we hope the goalpost will not shift beyond that. We hope we'll be able to see us back in this market towards the end of the year, if not earlier, and of course to a very strong 2022. Having said that, the entire team is still accessible here in Mumbai, and we would be happy to provide any content, images, information over email. It is going to be difficult to do any events because events have all been curtailed for 2021. So there will not be any on-ground activation or events. I also been led to believe that RVC 2021 will be a digital event. It'll be a virtual event. And of course, we will send more information on RVC 2021 being a virtual event. Having said that, I just want to thank all of you once again. Wish you all for a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2021. And I hope and sincerely hope it will be happy for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Baz. I would also like to thank each one of you for being a part of this informative webinar journey on Canada. We are confident we have learned a lot about the Canada, and as and when we'll get the opportunity, we'll be going to Canada. On this note, this is Murari along with Destination Canada, Air Canada, Mazda Travel Canada, and our other speakers signing off for now. See you at our next webinar. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, everyone. Same to you.
Thank you.